Hello and welcome back to the Flat Chat. It's me, Callum. I'm here with Aaron and Heggie, and today we are going to be rating the 20 Premier League teams' transfer windows. So we have 5 categories. The 5 categories are trash, had to do a bit more, average, have to be happy, and won the window. So we're just going to kind of talk about each team individually. Mainly their incomings, but also their outgoings, and players that obviously have come through, and just the general business of the team. And we'll try and kind of rank them. We'll rank them in their categories as well if we can.
Yeah.
So
And before we start as well, if you see us touching the screen and that, we're just going through the transfers. Apologies if it's off-putting, but
I'm sure no one will mind.
Unfortunately, we can't remember 300 transfers that's happened in the Premier League.
Exactly.
And then half of them are from Nottingham Forest, who are the first team.
That's a great segue, Cal.
Well, you know me.
Yeah. I'm assuming we all think they're in the upper echelons here.
Yes, but I don't think they've won the window.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think they've won the window because obviously they've brought in a lot of players, and if you look at them, there is a lot of players in there.
Yeah, this is one we will definitely have to scroll just for this one.
It's good business for a lot of these players, but because there's so many of them, so many players that you're having to fit in and gel, I do not think that it can be that they've won the window. Personally,
I think they have to be happy.
I think they have to. Of course, they've got to be happy.
They basically just took the championship base that they had and they've just kind of pasted over it with a Premier League base. The main thing for these transfers, especially for the likes of Forest, they'll be judged on if they're still here next season and the season after that.
Yeah. If they stay in the Prem, they might have won the window, but they can't base that. We have to base it in right now. They've just lost to Bournemouth as well.
Yeah.
But their main incomings: Renan Lodi, Dean Henderson, Bawley. We've got
Lingard,
Dennis,
Morgan Gibbs-White,
Oriol Mangala, the Belgian boy.
The Gibbs-White one was the first one for me that kind of
even Nico Williams.
Nico Williams as well.
Niakate.
Yeah, they brought in really good players.
Of course they have.
Yeah. But they've spent a lot of money.
Yeah,
of course. And Henderson as well in goals, obviously.
Yeah, that's a loan. But
if the thing is as well, if they go down here at the end of the season, of course, it would make sense for this to be the case. But that means it's quite easily going to be trash because it's going to put them in a lot of financial problems potentially.
Yeah, this is a fluid list throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely.
That might be an interesting idea to come back to this at the end of the season to see how it all compares.
Yeah,
but have to be happy.
Have to be happy. If I'm a Forest fan and looking at the business they've done, I'm going, I'm quite happy with that.
Fair enough.
Right, next team, West Ham.
They're quite low down for me. I think they're pretty low down. I think had to do a bit more is probably my place.
I agree. I think they've got one really good signing in Paqueta. I'm not impressed with the rest. I'm impressed with Conley a bit.
They spent money.
Yeah, I know, but they spent a lot of money on players that...
Skamaka's going to be good. Will come on, just because he's not started yet. I don't think it's had to do a bit more. I think this is just average.
I was going to say, if you were to ask a West Ham fan, like, if you look throughout the transfer window, they were screaming for the club to sign more players as well. Obviously, they were kind of appeased a little bit, obviously, with Paqueta. That's a good signing, to be fair. But I think if you look at the likes of, obviously, Skamaka and that as well, obviously, he's not started, but people were looking at, obviously... We know how fickle football fans can be in transfer windows, but they were looking at that and going, is that it?
So for West Ham, what else did they need here?
But West Ham are a team that are trying to push to get into that top 6.
I know, I see.
And to do that, they would have had to do a bit more in the transfer market.
Potentially, that's a good way of putting it. I personally still think they're agree, but obviously if the two of you are thinking else otherwise.
They're definitely top of had to do a bit more, or bottom of average. Like, who there really improves their team incredible amounts.
I mean, they've got a new centre-back in.
He's injured.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Right now.
But who improves their team? Out of the players, but we're not looking at it going out they're injured.
He also didn't play well the game I saw him.
He's played one. Yes, I mean it's one game. It's what this would have. Each player individually when they come in, they've got a new centre half. They've got a goalkeeper to come in. They've got Ariola.
He was already there.
But he's now signed.
Yeah. Kerr as well has looked really poor.
Has looked poor, but that's what I mean. It's just based off the first few games.
Yeah.
It's just not started. That's why for teams like that have started off with their new players have started off well, we're going to praise them higher. But that's not the full season we're doing off.
Yeah,
I think
right now.
For me, I would say it's average because I think they have spent money well. maybe they could have done with a bit more.
I was going
to push into that top 6, but
Yeah.
to do that for any team outside the top 6, it is so difficult
But
to
they've
do.
spent over 130 million.
Yeah.
And
But I mean,
how
everyone's
many-
doing that though.
How many players that they've signed get into their strongest 11? I think it's maybe 2 at a push.
Cornet probably,
Is he-
Lucas
I don't know.
Paqueta probably.
I think
One of the centre backs at least, potentially the goalkeeper
No.
and Skamaka. They'll all come in at points in the season and be one of their starters. I think
I was going to say, I think
that's for me. I understand what you're saying. But
basically for the way I'm obviously kind of judging it, because obviously I'm not quite as a full disclosure, I'm not quite as tuned into all the transfers as maybe you guys are. But I think if you were asking a West Ham fan, they would have told you, they would say we would have liked to have done more.
I think for what you're saying, for a West Ham fan, they are obviously going to say I had to do a bit more because they want to be competing with the best.
And
But I just don't think they are that. And I'm
And I
sorry if
think-
that annoys West Ham fans, but they're not.
And I think that's probably the best way to do it, because they would know best what their club probably needs.
Okay, yeah, if that's the way you want to look at it, that's fair. That's fair.
We like to make our tier list symmetrical as well, so if there's more teams and had to do a bit more, they will definitely be the one that goes up to average.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
It's fair the way you put it.
Right, on to next, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, I think
it's trash.
I think it's trash. The fact that they had to get a manager sacked and that as well before, which obviously now answers our question: who was the first Premier League manager to get sacked? Nobody had Scott Parker.
We mentioned
We
them,
mentioned them, but we all thought, oh well.
he'll get a bit of time and they
Yeah.
might keep him even if they go down. We thought,
And
but he didn't get sacked for results. He gets sacked for comments he made.
Yeah.
It just means that we can't be right with Lampard or Gerrard
Yeah.
because they might go soon. Well, Gerrard might.
Rodgers,
But he got a good result against at the weekend.
and obviously Rodgers as well. He's on the hot seat too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but
that could have been the El Sacco, but obviously
the El Sacco.
it could have been. They play next. They play each other next. But of course, that result against Man City is pretty big for Gerrard.
And the thing
Give him
is-
a bit of time.
The thing is, see, if you were to ask me before the whole thing with Scott Parker kicked off, I would have put this pretty closer to average in that as well, because they've brought in good players and decent levels of need. They brought in the likes of Neto, good, obviously solid, dependable goalkeeper in that as well. Ryan Fredericks at full back, and they've done well, like in terms of that. But obviously, when you look at what's happened since then, it has to be trash because obviously
They've not spent money either.
and exactly they've not spent well. They just come out as undisclosed in that as
Yeah, they
well.
have spent money, but it's not particularly much.
Senesi was 15 million, I believe, and
Yeah.
Tavernier was around the same.
Right.
So in terms, obviously in that level of investment, especially with the Premier League now, you're not surviving off that. I think, but I'm with you, Higgy. I think it has to be trash.
Yeah, it's definitely trash.
Aston Villa up next for the list.
I'm having a wee look at their transfers here.
I'm having
Ednarek on loan, alright. Dendonker, that's alright.
Coutinho permanent.
Coutinho permanently.
Good.
Kamara, good. Free as well, which is fair.
Diego Carlos on paper good, but now injured.
He's not, that obviously can't come into it really. It was a good transfer.
Dendonker as well. I think that's a decent signing for their centre
Yeah.
midfield.
Augustinson as well was a decent player.
See, looking at this, West Ham have got a better transfer window than them.
You think so?
Yeah, there's a better crop of players they've brought in.
No,
But they
because
spent more money, which is maybe what comes into it.
they've got 4 guaranteed first team players
That start.
with 100%
Right, straight off the bat,
they're
at
fit.
start. Right, I see, yeah, but I think Skamaka could be starting for West. I know
He's
about
not,
West. I know, but that's what he should be. Which makes it maybe, I guess, like
And we have to kind of base it off right
a
now.
lot of managers do not start their players that they bring in for a while. They have to embed them into the squad first.
At
And
the
I
same-
just think that Aston Villa have done that much quicker, and they've actually, I mean, neither side, Villa or West Ham, have started particularly well. So it doesn't really show much.
At the same time, but obviously, see when you look at the whole fan argument, like similar with West Ham, they kind of said their fans said we'd have to do it a bit more. A lot of Aston Villa fans aren't happy with Gerrard at the moment, so I feel like there's a natural cynicism from Aston Villa fans towards the transfer business that they've done.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of that, I think they have had a slightly better transfer window than West Ham, because as you said, there's 4 guaranteed.
They've also spent 90 million less than West
Yeah,
Ham.
that's what I think you have to come into it.
So
West Ham spent a lot of money.
I'm pretty happy to put them in average.
I think it's also average. What do you think?
Had to do a bit more, but again, 2v1 average.
Fair enough.
Okay. Next up, we have Brentford.
So let's scroll to Brentford.
Yeah, I'm in terms of obviously their signings. They signed Hickey, decent level of fullback as well, if a bit young, so he can kind of bed into the Premier League system. Strakosha, decent goalkeeper as well. He provide good backup for David Raya. Ben Mee already has a decent goal obviously has already been among the goals for Brentford as well. Decent, solid, dependable centre half. Damsgaard,
that's a very good player.
Very good player. I'm saying have to be happy.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so? Okay. Well,
I think for what Brentford are, I think it's been really smart business. Yeah. I think maybe that does come into it, and that's maybe why you're saying West Ham has been poor.
I think that is a big factor.
Whereas with Brentford, I can understand that. I think Strakosha is a good keeper. Ben Mee, yes, good. Damsgaard, good. Hickey, good.
I think it's top of average.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy to go with that as well. To be fair, like I would have said had to be happy, but I would say top of average, bottom of have to be happy.
Like Brentford shouldn't really be signing world class players. They're not that team. They just have to sign solid players to keep them in the league. Yeah. And they've looked good so far, and the signings they've made have also looked good, especially Ben Mee. I think he's looked really good.
Brentford's main goal will be cohesiveness. If they can keep cohesive and keep going and keep themselves up in the Premier League, they can start to look potentially towards progressing up a little bit higher up the table. Yeah. Potentially at the lower end of the Europe places like West Ham did.
Yeah. On to the next team, Crystal Palace.
I think this is pretty bad, and obviously, I've got a friend who's a Palace fan, and I was obviously talking about on the last day of the transfer window, and he was not happy with how they did.
They've got one player in that definitely starts, Doucouré. He's looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's looked good, yeah.
I think, especially on deadline day as well, like they pretty much said to every day, we're not doing anything. They had one deal going for a player on deadline day, which fell through with Peterborough. So I'm saying this is a trash one.
I think it is as well. I think Sam Johnson, we're going to mention him. I think that could be a decent signing. I think he will come into the first team at some point. But Gaeta is obviously a very good goalkeeper as well. At the
same time, but obviously I'm looking at it and going, Doucouré is a good player, but he's also now injured. Same as Diego Carlos as well. So I think Palace will be one that we have to look at again towards the end of the season. See if Doucouré comes back and he's still the good player that he was. I'm willing to move Palace up at least a rank.
On to Chelsea then. The biggest spenders, are they not?
They definitely have
close to being,
It's over 250 million or something.
Yeah. Right. This is where the issue comes in for me about West Ham, and I'm thinking maybe change your mind here, because we are not accountants. We don't really care how much money teams spend.
I know. But we do.
We do when it comes to fair play. All that nonsense.
Obviously. But our job is to watch the things on the park.
If you were looking at Chelsea's signings that they've brought in on paper, without looking at the price tag, they've won the window. They're the best team.
Perfect. Yeah.
But the money kinda does have to come into account. Should it? It's like
well, Nottingham Forest there. They've got how many players they've brought in that are going to improve their squad in some way.
I think
it's near enough a full 11 and the bench.
Obviously, in perspective as well, Forest are a team that's looking to just stay up in the Premier League, whereas Chelsea's looking to challenge.
I think that's also something that comes into it as well. Is what the expectations from the club.
But even if we just look at the signings that they've had, Sterling, decent start as well. Koulibaly has had a couple of maybe off games, but on the whole still a really solid defender. Marc Cucurella was one that obviously City were looking at as well, and obviously went to Fofana. They've pretty much robbed Leicester of their one of their last sellable assets.
So they didn't rob them, they spent 70 odd million on
obviously Aubameyang gets them in a focal point number 9, which is obviously what they were looking for, but obviously will he suffer the curse? That is the question.
No, you've said 5 players there, and they are all definitely in their starting.
100%.
They've spent a lot of money. As we've said, fans aren't accountants. They don't care. They want. Honestly, people moaning about their owners not being good enough is simply just them saying, we want someone to come in and bankroll us and just buy everything.
Or even
that is exactly what they've done here. Chelsea have to be happy, and is the minimum.
I think they have to be happy. Or fans just
say, what we want. It's kind of sick, but it's what we want. We want that for all our clubs.
Or rather cynically, fans just say, we want rid of financial fair play and just be able to spend whatever we want.
They also get rid of some deadwood as well. They get rid of Gilmore, Werner, Lukaku, but Lukaku can still come back as well.
Yes.
Of course.
I don't know. I think that's
they have to be happy. How can they not be happy?
I think they should put West Ham up.
I'm happy to put West Ham up, but
what's this? What is this? I had them there. I fought my case, and the two of you went, no.
As we said, this is a fluid list.
Exactly.
There's nothing there. It has to do more.
That's fine. I think we're about to mention a team that had to do it.
And that's Everton.
Really, I think they've had a decent window for Everton. That's what a lot of talk was in Talk Sport as well. Everton have actually done some good business.
Actually, you're right, because they brought in...
That's some good business there.
They brought in
Everton.
3 good centre mids when they had none.
This is a team that were fighting relegation last year. That doesn't those signings are not signings that you'd expect them to be relegated.
I forgot they got Gay and Garner in.
Right at the edge,
pretty good
Lope
players.
as well in the last week.
Solid striker,
yeah.
I'm saying I'm pretty close to have to be happy.
I think they're the top of average at least.
Top of average, yeah, definitely. But
Tarkovsky's a very good signing.
Yeah, Cody as well, and Anna's playing well already. As we said, Gay, Mope, and Garner, good signings.
Obviously they're getting Gay now. He knows the club, and he's had that sort of experience.
Even Dwight McNeil was a Premier League player last year.
This hurts putting Everton this high here because Jacob's going to be so happy.
Oh, we've got to be happy. He's going to be happy.
I mean, as much
here.
Yeah,
I think they have to be happy. I don't think they could do much more. I really don't. I think that's a good.
There's obviously
expectations here. Everton are trying to get themselves back to where they were a few seasons ago, and that is mid-table. To try and then from there push back up to where they want to be. That's what Everton need. And I think that's what their window's been.
They've obviously not won the window, but you can't put them anywhere other than top of average or have to be happy. Yeah. Because if you were to ask an Everton fan, which unfortunately we can't because he's not here today, then I'm pretty sure Everton fans would be quite happy with the business that they've done.
There's been some good business in there. On to a team that have maybe done, what would you say, not as good business?
Worse
business? Liverpool.
They've not brought in many players.
No,
but they never really do. They never really do, Liverpool.
Yeah, that is true. But expectations, they're just... this is an example of... This is a team, Liverpool, that this is what their owners do. It's a club that we've said has been run well for quite a few years now, whereas in comparison to Chelsea, they've not been run quite as well for the last few years, but then you look at what they're doing, and they're just spending money, they're throwing money at it. That's just what they do, and the fans can be happier with that.
I think Chelsea have had more net spend this window than Liverpool have had in the last 10 windows.
Which is insane, but obviously when Liverpool were consistently challenging and won the title, they could get away with that because Liverpool fans would then go and say, well, the team's won the league, so obviously it doesn't really matter. But see, they're off form. They look really, really suspect in a lot of games, especially against the likes of Man United and even Everton. Even the game against Everton, they could have easily lost that game.
Yeah.
So I'm willing.
I think
they had to do a bit more.
Had to do a bit more. I don't say it's trash because they have spent a lot of money on that Darwin Núñez. He could start firing at some point. Calvin Ramsey could be good as well. He could come through. And Fabio Carvalho's actually probably looking like the best signing they've made so far. Yeah. Arthur Melo, I've heard a lot of Juve fans are buzzing that he's out the door.
I feel like someone needs to go up to Fenway Sports Group and say, it's okay guys, you can spend money, it's fine.
It's not their model, it's not.
If Calvin Ramsey was fit as well, he would probably be playing there now because
Trent is Trent.
I don't think the Liverpool is they've been quite bad because of injuries as well. Yeah. It's not just because of.
They've also had the £64 million signing headbutt someone and get sent off.
That's another one, yeah, exactly.
And another factor is they've sold big players like Manny.
Yeah,
that Manny's a massive miss for them right now.
Yeah, especially for how little money they got for him. But no, I think that's 100%.
Have to do more. Yeah.
Right. This might cause a wee debate. Man City.
It's because of Haaland that this is just...
This is high.
It's very high. And it could be won the window.
It could be won the window.
Because it's just that good a signing. But at the same time though, they've brought in him to come and win them all those games, those tight games, and they've not won all their games yet. Yesterday, for example, that Villa game, he's the one that they've brought on when they're not able to get the goal, to be in the box, to put the ball in the back of the net. He scores, but he only scores one.
At the same time...
So I don't know if it's...
At the same time, but if he's been brought in to do that, and he's done that, then arguably...
He's on 10 goals, yeah.
And also...
Him as a signing is the best signing.
It's the best value for money signing in the Premier League transfer window this season because there's no way that he should be going for anywhere near 64 million. He should be going for at least double or close to maybe even triple that.
Well, he was getting a lot of bonuses for going.
Yeah. Let's have another look at the others. Right, we know Haaland is probably the best signing of the summer for any individual transfer. But looking at the other signings, do we think that's worthy of winning the window?
Calvin Phillips, good squad player for City. Akanji, again,
Solid
a good squad player, but he plays enough feet at the back.
Yeah.
And City don't.
But City, as we've said before, near enough play at 3 in the back anyway.
And obviously, but the good thing about City is because of Pep Roulette, a lot of these guys will get their chance to show what they can do. Whereas in a team like Liverpool, they maybe wouldn't, because I feel like Klopp's got a more established set of starters. Like, this is who's starting, and unless someone either gets injured or is suspended, they don't change that. Whereas Pep's more likely to give the likes of Calvin Phillips and obviously Ortega, maybe in the cup games, and Akanji a chance to really show what they could do.
Sergio Gomez as well looks a decent player, a good backup for João Cancelo. I think the thing with City that makes them win the window is
Haaland.
Surely Haaland. Yeah.
They've got Haaland, but they've also, I'm not sure 100% figures, but they've near enough made a net profit.
Yeah, but also you could see, if we're talking about individual players winning the window, you could argue that one of the teams coming up has also won the window for one of their signings as well, in Arsenal.
But, we'll get to them.
We'll get to Arsenal.
I think that Man City, from looking at it, if I had to pick a team out of the 20 to say they've won the window, it probably would be Man City, because of the Haaland is just that good.
Haaland's just that good.
Another one, I know it's not on this list, and it technically doesn't count, but Alvarez is also kind of coming in this summer.
Yeah.
I know they bought him in January, but
the
business they did, I think it was, that he didn't come till this season starts, and he's been a good signing as well. But I think without him either way, Haaland takes Man City over the line to win the window.
Next up, we have their Manchester rivals, Manchester United. And see, if we were discussing this maybe like a couple of weeks ago, they were trash. We would have probably said trash. But now that Ten Hag has got them kind of gelled into like a little bit of form,
and the players have brought in at the end of the window as well, Casemiro and Antony, and even Dubravka, I guess.
I think they've had an average window. They've done better than Liverpool. There's no way they should be doing. There's no way they should be and have to do a bit more.
I think they have to be happy.
I'm willing to go with that.
I think they have to be happy as well. I mean,
they're not because of the Glazers, but like
they are happy. I'm telling you, they've turned that around. They certainly are happy. I've seen a lot of Man United fans that completely forgot the Glazers' name. They're not talking about it at all.
But
they've brought in 5 players that get into their starting 11
and have been in their starting 11,
and they've spent less than Chelsea.
I was going to say they brought in Malacia, who has looked fantastic in the games that he's played. Eriksen, ropey start, but he's starting to settle in now. Lissandro Martinez, exact same. Casemiro,
not seen anything yet, but we know who he is.
5-time Champions League winner.
Antony, that's the one that's the big. That's got a bit of Darwin Núñez about it. It's a lot of money we don't know.
It's got a lot of Darwin Núñez.
A bit of Jadon Sancho as well.
That as well, yeah. But it could work. One of them is bound to work at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like this has more of a chance of working, because when Sancho came in under what it was Ollie, wasn't it?
Yes, a better manager.
Better manager, and it's obviously someone that worked with him before. Yeah. Obviously, whereas Sancho didn't work with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer before, so obviously he was more accustomed to working with the coaches at Dortmund. So I feel like that has more of a chance to do.
Another factor with Man United is they've got rid of so much.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah. And obviously
they definitely have to be happy.
Oh yeah.
I'm willing to have to be happy.
Whereabouts then have to be happy? Do you think they are?
Probably
between Forest and Everton.
Forest and Everton, I think. They've not had a better window than Chelsea, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Right. Next up, Fulham.
This is pretty high. See, if you were to argue, this has been pretty high as well, because they've had signed some really, really good players.
Well, those top
and Shane Duffy.
Yeah, so Polina and Pereira are very good signings for Fulham. Polina's, I think he's got the most tackles in the league so far, which is pretty impressive. Look at the stats. That's a very good signing. Pereira, good signing, starts for them at number 10.
Their goalie.
Leno's making some good saves already.
Mbappe was a big shock for me, because I thought Mbappe would have maybe been on the radar of not bigger clubs than that as well. I don't want to disrespect Fulham in that as well.
He did get benched for Tavernier at Rangers.
Yeah. I mean that is okay, fair enough. But Mbappe was consistently among one of the top performers in his position in the Bundesliga. So I'm quite obviously fair play to Fulham that they got him, and hopefully he does well.
Solomon's a decent one as well. I know he's injured now, isn't he? Williano Ronaldo, what a player he is. He'll be banging some free kicks, and obviously your boy Shane Duffy.
What a player he is. The greatest centre back in history. And obviously Carlos Vinicius as well.
Diop, Daniel James.
Yeah.
And they got rid of
and Kurzawa. That's a lot of players.
All good players.
Very good players. And
have to
Danny
be
James.
happy.
I have to be happy.
I think they might
yeah.
be top.
I have to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm willing to back that.
I mean, I'm happy with that. Anywhere to put Chelsea down, that's fine by me.
We've got a good few and have to be happy here. We might need to get a couple of averages.
There is a few. Well, to be fair, we're on to another one that's pretty good. Southampton. That's a decent window they've
if we can
had.
find them.
There it is.
There we go. Right, Bazunu.
Good
starting goalkeeper.
Decent
It's
goalkeeper.
looked good.
He did get sat down by Podence though.
Lavia, he's been
Very
counted
good.
as one of the best young prospects in the Premier League at
They
the
nearly
moment.
made 35 million profit in one window for
Yeah,
them.
yeah. See what happened? Chelsea tried to.
Chelsea tried to buy him as well.
Sorry, they just signed him.
And he's only been there for obviously Joe Rebo, and as much as it pains me because he's a Rangers player, he is a good player and he's done really well for Southampton, so we're playing him.
But their best signing,
Kotchap.
Kotchap. He looks
Kotchap.
unbelievably good.
He does look very good. He does it. Mara, you know what I love my Mara. He's a player by the way. Not Bordeaux, 20-year-old.
And they've obviously took Maitland Niles off.
Yeah, no, it's
off
a good
Arsenal
business
as well. but-
Kalita Carr as well, a good centre back.
Yeah,
They've had a pretty good window.
very
Very good window, I think, because we were thinking that maybe they would struggle this season because of all the improvement around them, but they've done some good business. It's
I know what
smart business. It's very reminiscent of Brentford, I think, in the way they're trying to bring in players that
Younger
players. Its statistics show they're going to improve. That kind of thing. I think it's the money ball way, isn't it?
I know they're probably going to be moving a couple of clubs down from have to be happy, but Southampton have to be happy, I think.
Yeah. I think they're happier than Forest.
I think they're happier than Forest right
Like they've
now.
brought in I don't know actually. Like it's around Forest.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Either way,
Do you think that?
it doesn't. I'm indifferent with this one. Just pick one.
We'll go there because Forest got a team coming up.
What about Brighton then?
So we need to scroll a lot here.
Tricky one to gauge because obviously they've lost obviously
Two of their
two of their best players, but they've also replaced them with decent quality as well.
Stupian, decent. Billy Gilmore and Cisco. I think with this one we have to try and take away the fact that they've started pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good a window as you would.
They were a
based
good
on how
team.
well they've started.
They were a good team before,
Yeah.
but they've not got any better.
Well, they've lost their two best players.
Exactly.
And they've made a lot of money this window.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a Brighton fan, you think we have to do more here.
I think so as well. That's not just because we wanted to look symmetrical.
No, of course not.
Of course not.
That would never be us. But no, I think a big part of why they've done well is because of how good their manager is.
Yeah.
We've talked so much about Graham Potter. I think he's an incredible manager. But looking at those transfers in, they're all right.
They're okay. Yeah.
There's a bit to what they've lost. You've got to consider what they've lost. Yeah, had a bit more.
If you're a Brighton fan, you're thinking we have to have spent more money based on how much we brought in. And that's the main factor why we have to do a bit more.
Yeah.
Speaking of symmetry, I feel like this one's going to be very near the top.
And are we near the top?
I don't think it'll be as near the top as you think.
I disagree. I think Arsenal have had a pretty good window for what they've done.
Well, we've already mentioned a few teams that have had five players that go straight in the starting 11. Arsenal arguably only have two.
Two, probably. We've not seen Vieira play yet. He could turn out to be very good.
Yeah.
He could be a starter, who knows?
Yeah.
Marquinhos actually could be the backup to Saka. He's
Yeah.
He's now in the first team because of how well he's done in the under-21s. Turner, a backup keeper. Alright,
I think
but it's the two big. It's not a bad window, of course it's not. It's probably not. If Arsenal wanted to push in, if the Arsenal wanted to compete with the Man Cities, the Liverpools, even the Chelsea, Spurs, I think they had to do more. I wouldn't say this is a had to do a bit more because I think it's actually
It's definitely not have to do a bit more. I think in terms of, obviously, I think it's a similar sort of argument with Haaland, obviously to a lesser extent because Haaland is Haaland, but the improvement that Jesus and Zinchenko have made to the Arsenal starting 11 right now, I think is exponential, and they've got rid of a lot of the deadwood as well. So
yeah, they've got the deadwood going is a big thing. There's a lot of deadwood gone, but it's left us a little bit light. A few injuries and Arsenal start crumbling down, just like we did in January.
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's why it's not. That's why I'm an Arsenal fan, and I wouldn't say I'm fully happy.
Does the fact you didn't get a centre mid in as well upset you?
It does. We've not get, I just talked about Marquinhos potentially being the backup to Saka.
Yeah.
But Pepe's gone. We don't actually have a backup in the right wing. That might be Fabio Vieira as well. We know he can play in those positions. But we just don't know. There's a lot we don't know about this Arsenal because they've not all played. We've got a lot of injuries coming in and out. Coming in now.
Where as an Arsenal fan do you think this should go? 'Cause I think you should be the main
I
person.
think it's top of average.
Okay.
I think honestly, I think 2 weeks ago we were
Sorry, guys.
I think 2 weeks ago with expectation that we're going to bring something else in, that we could have won the window.
You could have, yeah.
We genuinely
I think
really
if you
could have.
got a Tielemans in and
I think honestly, I know Douglas Luiz was the one we were linked to. If we got Douglas Luiz in, I'd be definitely have to be happy, and we'd probably be near the top of it. It's just such a key position that we needed to fill in the summer, and we didn't. I can't have it going anywhere above average because of that. Because I think there has been some really good business from Arsenal, but it's just such a big miss.
yeah. Fair enough.
Fair enough. I'm obviously, as the Arsenal fan,
Yeah,
It is. I mean, I've heard a lot of Arsenal fans say the same thing. It was looking like it was going to be one of the better ones, but
yeah.
not quite there.
Yeah, and on to another one of our panel's favourite clubs, Aaron's Leeds.
yes. So
what do you think?
as a Leeds fan, with obviously the quality that we've brought in and the start to the season we've had, I'm more than happy. I have to be happy because we've brought in Aronson, who's made near enough an immediate impact. We've brought in Mark Roca, who's been a really solid central midfield. He's what the central midfield really needed after Calvin Phillips went. So
and the other one, Tyler Adams.
Tyler Adams looks immense. Sinisterra looks immense. Like
I think you can draw, I wouldn't say comparisons, but they're pretty. There was comparisons with how Brighton and Leeds were going to be this summer. Both losing, two of the best players?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Leeds
getting a lot of money. Leeds spent the money, Brighton didn't. And that's the opposite. That's the comparison I'm making here.
I'm willing to say that Leeds have improved and obviously impressed, filled more of their needs than Brighton have. So I'm definitely putting them above Brighton. As a Leeds sort of supporter, I have to be happy with how they've done.
I think again we're going to go with that then.
Yeah, I agree.
Will we then decide where we think they'd be in the list? In the half category.
I think they're below United.
I think they're between United and Everton.
Yeah,
I think.
Now, this one, it's probably going to be a trash.
We don't
even need to discuss it.
We don't even really need to
I think they go dead last.
They brought one senior player in,
Yeah.
FaZe, who came from Reims in France.
They waited till September the 1st to sign their first proper outfield player. Like, that's not a transfer window, that's 1 day of a transfer window. Like,
I don't know what you can really say about Leicester. It's an absolute shambles.
It is a shambles, especially with the way the club's been running so well for the last few years.
And obviously they've lost the likes of Fofana as well. Like, that's a trash window. Like,
I would not be surprised if they went down.
Yeah,
they could.
They get really messed about by other clubs. They thought they were going to lose, Fofana. They did. Tielemans, they thought they were losing, and they're going to lose them because they didn't sell them. Next season. Madison is really going as well. It's just there's a lot of players in there that are key starters for them.
They are 2 bad injuries away from an absolute disaster. If Madison gets injured and Vardy or Tielemans,
they have no goals.
Trouble City.
If any of those 3 get injured, and worst comes to worst, multiple of them, then they have no goals.
Yeah.
They have no core of the midfield. Like, they could very easily be in the Everton slot from last season, only much worse. Because at least Everton had the capability of staying up. If they get to that stage, I don't think they stay up. I think they go.
Right. Newcastle. How do we look at this? How do we look at Newcastle? Do we expect more because of the money that we know they've got, or do we maybe go, if that's fair play?
I'm willing to be more lenient towards Newcastle because they could have spent the money and they could have gone wild with players, but they haven't. They've been more sensible and they've filled for need rather than that. Mm-hmm. And if you're a Newcastle fan, then obviously I think you have to be happy.
I think personally this is average.
Okay.
I think personally that it looks more symmetrical if we do it that way as well.
Thank you of the video, nice.
No, they brought in 3 guaranteed starters into the start 11, Pope, Isaac and Botman.
Immediate impact from Isaac as well.
Pope's looked very good as well, but it's only average because they could have spent more money, potentially, and brought in more guaranteed starters. Mm-hmm. What other players there is good squad players realistically target the rest are all.
They already have. He's also a bit he's like Coutinho where he's already moved.
He was already there in
January, and they
got him permanent. So obviously they'll be happy with that.
I think
I think they're below Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Sorry.
They're apparently below Arsenal on that one.
Right. On to another North London club, Spurs.
Yeah, I know what he's going to say immediately.
Have to be happy, probably. What do you mean? What was I going to say?
I thought you were about to fire them in trash.
I mean, they are trash. If you want to put them in the bin, you can if you want.
But
I don't know if they have to be happy.
I think this is
Why?
average.
I think it might be average.
Alright, well, put them down there if you want.
I was going to say, because obviously, when you look at it, okay, Perisic, fair enough, great player. Like,
He's not a gap.
But you not say,
start.
I think with both Arsenal and Spurs, a big thing was they got a lot of their good business done early,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
makes, I think, it makes their window look better from the first.
from the outside looking in.
Well,
Yeah,
we mean-
because that means you can get the players gelled into your squad quicker.
Yeah.
Look at Forest, all these players coming in. There's so many of them coming in at the back end of the window.
And
Remember our first video we did the transfer video before, and we had Arsenal and Tottenham top two
Yeah.
because of how early they did their business.
I think obviously it's better when you don't see a club rushing around on deadline day to get deals done. Like, it obviously makes them look better in that as well,
Yeah.
because they can then just turn around and say, whoever's there from Sky Sports, say, mate, you may as well go home because there's going to be nothing. So, but if we look at the players that they brought in, Romero has already enough been a starter for them. Perisic,
He's already there.
was this a
Romero's been there for a year.
Okay, fair enough. Perisic starting for them. Richarlison's
He's
getting
not been starting. He's only started one game.
Yeah.
Sessegnon's
Sessegnon's
been
probably
starting.
the favoured pick there.
Basuma is the only player that they've signed that is a guaranteed starter.
But he's only just starting now.
Yeah.
starting.
They've definitely improved their squad.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely, it's an improvement.
But
But are you then saying that means that they're average because they haven't improved? You know, well, they might. I think it's a wee bit like West Ham in that way. There's a lot of players there that aren't guaranteed starters yet, but I think they are.
But they will
very
be.
likely going to be in the next 10 games.
Yeah.
So-
I think they're below Newcastle. Or maybe just above, actually.
I'd just put them next to Arsenal there.
I'd put them next to Arsenal, but
Right,
Yeah,
the
man.
last club before we
have to try and reorder this and get
order
it.
that a
I
wee
think
bit.
West Ham are going to go back down, unfortunately, aren't they?
We'll get to that when we get
All
to
the
that.
symmetry. All the
Yeah.
symmetry.
So anyway,
No,
Wolves.
they've made some good signings.
Yeah,
Wolves.
Yeah. Nunez, good signing. Guedes, good signing.
Hichan,
Collins as well.
Kaladzic as well. What a proper focal point striker, which I feel like Wolves are another team that kind of lack that.
Oh, they've got Jimenez, but he's not been really playing that good.
Yeah, he's not, so they have obviously brought him in. I mean, obviously we don't base it off height, but the guy's 6'7", had a really strong season for Stuttgart, and
And then Plank. I mean, that is a signing.
that is a
I'm
great.
trying to see what is his
From
name.
Dorking Wanderers.
Aye.
I was going to say, if that's not a game-changing Premier League player, I don't know what
A
is.
lot of players go out as well.
Yeah, it's a
Cody
lot.
losing their captain is big though.
They made a lot of money in Gibbs White, a player that wasn't starting for
Yeah.
them.
And obviously they lost Willie Bolly in and around the periphery of this.
I don't think it's have to be happy though.
No.
I think
I think it's still average.
pretty close to the bottom of average or middle of bottom.
Yeah,
not
I
middle
agree
of
with
average.
What are we saying? Below Brentford?
I'd say
Yeah,
above Villa. I'd say above Villa.
Completely
But
happy with
Yeah.
that.
Are we going to put Palace up?
Why?
To make it a bit more symmetrical?
It doesn't look that. I mean,
I mean, you just do that.
Put them on the window, guys. There you go.
And then get Everton down.
Yeah, well,
This is what a symmetrical list would look like, but it's not accurate, is it?
yeah. I mean, realistically, it's
oh no, then wait, no. West Ham comes back down.
yeah. I think West Ham goes down.
There we go. No, that's not it.
I mean, they can't get any worse. Hey, what a sorry, that is.
I was going to say, and of course, he had to move Leeds down because he's ready to go, but.
So yeah, thank you very much for listening to us talk about our symmetrical list. Yeah, and of course we have ranked the 20 Premier League clubs.
By symmetry.
Symmetry. Oh,
I saw a real list first.
yeah, but you saw the real list.
Aye.
You know what our opinions are.
Basically, all we need to do is screenshot below, like just before we did the
Yeah.
whole symmetrical thing, you'll get an actual list.
So of course, yeah, comment down below if you agree with us, disagree with us, who's got some bad takes there, that sort of thing. And of course, leave us a like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Till next time.
Take care, guys.